Well, let's start. With your group, we start with previous class, number 1, point B and C. Yes? Previous class about SLM, we should finish point B and C. Agree? Yes, yes. So, let's read. We need to explain what will happen to our curves, to our short-run curves, S and LM, when here is an increase in taxes. Who wants? Okay, my question. Increase in taxes, it is about goods market or money market?
Money market.
Money.
Why money?
Wait, increase in goods?
In goods market, it influences what? Increase in taxes.
In taxes, not in goods.
The increase in taxes will influence the supply markets, like the producers, because they will be taxed more.
No, this taxes is for consumers. In macro course, no, of course. It influences what? It influences our disposable income, as I hope you remember it. Households have total income, then they pay taxes, and after that they will have disposable income. Agree? And what's happening to consumption?
It decreases.
Consumption decreases, yes, because we have now less money to buy products. Yes, consumption is a part of GDP. Consumption is about goods market. It's all about goods market. Consumption decreases. It is a part of GDP. That means that total output decreases. Total income and total output for each interest rate in the economy, because only total output, equilibrium total output, is formulated in the goods market. Interest rate is about money market, yes? So this is the shift of which curve, and what it will be this shift. This is the shift of IS or LM?
Investments? No?
Investment saving curve, IS.
Yes. Yes.
IS curve. IS curve shifts where? Up or down? Left or right?
Left.
To the left, yes. Shifts left. And now we need to understand how we will move along LM curve, what will happen in the equilibrium in the money market. So we see that GDP decreases. That means that we need now less money for transactions. And that means that the demand for money decreases. Money demand decreases. And if money demand decreases, that leads to decrease in interest rate. Yes, price for money decreases. All in all, we get in total equilibrium GDP decreases after this policy, and equilibrium interest rate decreases after this policy. And we see that when government increases taxes, yes, it decreases GDP. So when the economy is overheating, yes, we can increase taxes to decrease total output, total income. Yes. So it's about this problem is about fiscal policy. Let me show you on the graph. And this explanation. You see? When GDP decreases, we need less money for transactions. That means that the price for money decreases. This is the explanation of moving along the LM curve. This is how the equilibrium in the money market changes, and we move along LM. So you see, this is the explanation of positive slope of liquidity money, positive correlation between GDP and interest rate in the money market. So this is move along LM. So now let us show it on the graph. Okay, IS1 was like this. Now we increased taxes and GDP decreased for each interest rate. This is GDP decreased for each interest rate. Shift to the left of IS. IS2. And write down the explanation that this is because taxes increased. And now we move from this equilibrium 1 to equilibrium 2. When we compare this equilibrium, we see that GDP decreases and interest rate decreases. Yes, and when we move from point 1 to point 2, we move along LM. Along LM. This we explained by decreasing in the demand for money. Please, questions about this part?
Yeah, excuse me, could you one more time explain the graph, please?
The graph?
Yes.
So we had equilibrium before the tax, before the change in tax, IS and LM. IS equilibrium in the goods market, LM equilibrium in the money market. And we had like our equilibrium GDP 1 and equilibrium interest rate 1. Now we know that because of tax increase, IS shifts left. So we shifted left to the left IS. Yes? And now we see that the new cross is in the point in which interest rate is lower and total output is lower. And we need to explain how we move to this equilibrium. We move along LM. How? Like this. This is the explanation of moving along LM. Your GDP decreases. That means we need less money to less money for transactions, for our deals. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And that's why price for money decreases. So we move from point 1 to point 2 in the graph, and that's all. Okay, A, B, C. In point C, let's look. An increase in real GDP increases demand for money. Demand for money increases, which drives up the interest rates, price for money, because there is an increase in number of transactions taking place. What transactions? What's happening? Anastasia?
I'm not sure, but I think that it should shift the IS curve to the right because.
Why?
Mm,
Do we have here any change in the goods market?
oh, no.
No, IS curve will stay the
It'll stay
same.
the same, so It is
Do we
the
have
change in LM.
But we have here any monetary policy.
No.
What we have here, I did not raise it. It's the same explanation. You see, we move along LM and that's all. It's the explanation about the slope of LM. It's positive and that's all. Елизавета?
Well, I believe that this is an increase in... Ой, ужасный шум какой-то, боже. An increase in LM.
Not the shift, but we move along LM up and to the right. Let me show it. So this is moving along LM. This is the explanation of positive connection between GDP and interest rate in the money market. So this is explanation for positive slope of LM. And that's all. And what is happening? IS curve and LM curve stays the same. No shocks. No fiscal policy. No monetary policy. So we have such equilibrium. And what's happening here? We move along LM. When GDP increases, that means that interest rate will increase. So, like here. You see? For example, to this point. But this point is equilibrium point for money market because it belongs to LM curve. But it's not equilibrium point for goods market. This point does not belong to IS. So now goods market is not in equilibrium. You see? Goods market is not in equilibrium. And what will happen? We see now that for each level of output, interest rates are higher than it should be for equilibrium in the output market. Now interest rate is higher than for equilibrium in goods market. You see, this point is above IS. Yes? For each level of output. And if interest rate is higher, what will happen to investments?
More investments.
More investments. Hey, why? Higher interest rate. More expensive credits. What that means? Investments.
Oh, okay, less than.
So that
Yeah, I was
means
wrong.
that means that these credits are more expensive. And that means that investments will fall. Investments in inventory. And if investments will fall, that means that GDP output will decrease. Yes, so where we will move? We will move for this interest rate, GDP will decrease. We will move here. Now, in this point, we are in equilibrium in the goods market, but now this point does not belong to LM, and this is not equilibrium for money market. In the money market, GDP is lower than it should be. Yes, that's why money demand decreases and the interest rate decreases. And we move back. somehow, we don't know this path, how it will happen. We move back to our equilibrium point because there is no shock, no fiscal policy, no monetary policy. That's why we'll move back and equilibrium interest rate and GDP will stay the same as before. So, and this continues such that equilibrium GDP stays constant and equilibrium interest rate stays constant. Please ask about this. So here we do not have any change in taxes and government spendings, a change in, I don't know, for money market, a change in discount rate or change in, or central bank does not print money, something like this. So we have here only explanation of positive slope of LM. That means the moving along LM. Maxim, question?
Yeah, so if y changes, it's not necessarily going to affect the both of the curves, yeah? So like in our case, like nothing affects them, yeah? Am I correct?
You see that we do not know, we do not have here shock. If we will have, for example, GDP increases because of, I don't know, aggregate consumption increases, that will mean that IS shifts to the right. But we do not have here any shock. Nothing changes here, yes? And this part is explanation about moving along the curve. So curves does not change. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
So I erase, and today we will speak about medium run. We know that ISLM model is a short run economic model. And in the short run, we assumed that price level is constant. Prices are constant, yes? In the medium run, we change this assumption and say that prices can be changed. Plus 2.5, let us write down this. In the short run, prices are constant, price level constant. In the medium run, about which we will talk today, prices can change, prices are variable. And today we will talk about the model of price setting and wage setting equation. Let us start from, please open class 5. We will start from number 1. Let's read. Suppose that the markup of goods prices over marginal cost is 5%. Markup, we name it mu, 0.05 or 5%. Average product of labor in the economy is equal to 1. And that the wage setting equation is nominal wage equals to price level multiplied by 1 minus unemployment rate. Point A. What is the real wage as determined by the price setting equation? Real wage, it's like real GDP. We need to divide nominal wage by price level. Agree? So we need to find nominal wage over price by using price setting equation. Who remember price setting equation? Please. Esther?
Isn't it like price equals to MC, I mean, equals to wages divided by, there were like MP for labor.
Mar-
Margin,
marginal.
yes, yes.
And where is markup? Where is average product? of labor?
Oh, sorry, that is not it, just another question. It's it should be no, it should be wages divided by price equals to yes, like this, and AP for labor divided by 1 plus mu.
Average product of labor over 1 plus markup. So, okay, we can count. Yes, put everything. This real wage. Yes, so put everything. Average product of labor 1 over 1 plus 0.05. And this will be approximately 0.95. But let me explain what you tried to tell us. Why price setting equation looks like this in our macro course. From micro course, you remember, it's like note. You remember that in perfectly competitive market, we have the condition for equilibrium that price equals to marginal costs. Yes. Also, we can rewrite it. Marginal costs are wage over marginal product of labor. This was in our micro course. But we know that if price is equal to marginal costs, firms do not have profit. Profit is equal to 0. But in reality, firms have profit. Yes, we do not have perfect competition in reality. So, not in perfectly competitive market, prices are higher than marginal costs by this markup. So price will be set as 1 plus markup multiplied by marginal costs. Yes, by how much price is bigger than marginal cost. So 1 plus mu multiplied by wage over marginal product of labor. But this was in microeconomic course. In macro, we always need to find a lot of data, yes, and we need to count a lot for some conclusions. And it's super hard to calculate marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor is the additional output that additional worker produces for us. Yes, if we hire additional worker. And for macroeconomists, it's easier to calculate average product of labor. Average product of labor is the total output over the number of workers, and that's all. So, because it's harder to calculate marginal product of labor, in macro course, we will use average product of labor. Good. So let's write down in macro. Price will be equal to 1 plus markup multiplied by nominal wage over average product of labor, because it's easier to calculate. That's all. So this is price setting equation. This is how firms set their prices. Agree? And from this formula, we can find this formula. So you see, they are identical. We can revert this. Okay. So this is, and let's see, you tried to tell me this one, yes? Okay. So we found equilibrium real wage from price setting equation. Then in point B, we should find equilibrium natural rate of unemployment. Who wants?
I can try.
Mhm.
Okay, we have the formula with the unemployment rate, which is like unemployment rate equals to unemployment divided by, isn't it like labor force or something like LF?
Labor force.
the
Yes.
labor force. So and then we have another equation, which is wage equals to what price multiplied by 1 minus mu, or no, like
Unemployment rate.
sorry, the mic connection. Yeah, you're right. It's right. Unemployment rate. And so we can put this, like the first formula, just paste it into the second equation, if I'm not
But-
mistaken.
Why we need it? Here is unemployment
Oh.
rate. We need to find it. Unemployment rate. So we can find it from this formula, and that's all. We do not
Oh,
have
yeah,
information
yeah.
about labor force or
About
number of unemployed people. But this is unemployment rate.
Mhm.
Unemployment rate in percent. So let's find. We see that wage over price is equal to 1 minus this unemployment rate, equilibrium unemployment rate. We found real wage. Yes, so 0.95 equals to 1 minus this unemployment rate. So in equilibrium, natural rate of unemployment equals to 0.05 or 5%.
5%, yes.
It's okay. So first thing, first we need to understand why here is negative connection between real wage and unemployment rate. It's about wage setting equation. Second note, wage setting equation. So let's take from our task, wage over price is equal to 1 minus unemployment rate. And you see here is negative connection between them. The higher the unemployment, the lower the wage. And let us explain why is it so, how it influences the labor market. So higher unemployment rate means that, please.
A higher employment rate means that like more workers, like they are finding jobs, or how to say, like seeking for job.
Mhm.
So it, and it leads to competition.
Higher competition in the labor
And
market.
if there is like competition, that means that employer, they're like, they are thinking about lowering the wages, and that means that the whole other part of equation also lowers.
So employees decrease nominal wages. Yes. Why they can do it? Because those people who are employed, they are afraid. They are more afraid to lose the job. Yes. That's why they agree for lower nominal wages. As employed, agree for lower wages. And that means that real wage decreases. So that's how we explained this wage setting equation. Okay, good, thank you. Also, we can draw everything on the graph, what is happening. Here will be unemployment rate, vertical line, real wage. Price setting. Price setting, we found that from price setting equation, we found that real wage equals to 0.95. It's horizontal line that does not depend on unemployment rate. This is price setting equation, and here 0.95. Wage setting equation, you see, real wage equals to 1 minus unemployment, linear function with negative slope, yes. Here 1, 1, this is wage setting equation, and when we cross them, we will find equilibrium natural rate of unemployment. And it is equal to 0.05. Good. Let's do number point C. Point C. Suppose that the markup of prices over costs increases to 10%. And we need to explain what will happen to natural rate of unemployment. Nice, continue.
Okay, so as I understood, the markup will lead to increase in prices.
Exactly, yes.
And we just explained that if prices are going to be to increase, the real wage is going to be less. And that will lead to increase in unemployment rate.
Yes, exactly. That's all. Now, if real wage is lower, also we can explain like this. If prices, second explanation, if prices are higher, yes, that means that producers will produce less, low demand. Higher prices, lower quantity, remember? So if prices are higher, that means that output will be lower. And if output is lower, we need less workers to produce it. So we will fire workers. Need less workers to produce. And that means that unemployment rate will increase. More people will lose, part of people will lose their jobs. Good? This is how we can also explain what will happen. And now let's count. To count, it's easy. From price setting equation, real wage equals to average product of labor, one more time, over 1 plus markup. It is 1 over 1 plus 0.1. Okay, let's say that it is 1 over 1.1. Put this new real wage into wage setting. In wage setting, 1 over 1.1 equals to 1 minus unemployment rate. New unemployment rate
is 0.1.
0.1, 10%, yes. 10%. And what's happening on the graph? Let us show. Now, real wage is lower. This will be price setting equation 1. This arrow, this shift is explained by the increase in markup, because markup increased. Always name these arrows, why this shift happens. Now we will have new unemployment rate, 0.1, and our new real wage. If it is 0.1, this will be 0.9. Yes. So that's all. So we move from this to this, from equilibrium 1 to equilibrium 2. Good. We move along wage setting equation. And we wrote down in the second note the explanation of the negative slope, the explanation of moving along wage setting. Good. Guys, please questions about the first task. I will erase it now. So, okay, we continue. And now we start doing number 2. Let us read the task. It's very big, but don't worry. Do not be afraid. You've learned that informal work at home, for example, preparing meals, taking care of children, it's like to be a housewife, something like this, is not counted as a part of GDP because you, when you work at home, you do not have contract, official contract. That's why it's not official deal. Yes, so that's why it's not counted in GDP. Such work also does not constitute employment in labor market statistics. So these housewives, they are not included in labor force. With these observations in mind, consider two economies, each with 100 people. So number of people in the economy equals to 100, divided into 25 households, each composed of 4 people. So we have 25 households, each composed of 4 people. In each household, one person stays at home and prepares the food. In each household, one person stays at home and prepares food. Then, 2 people work in the non-food sector. 2 people work in non-food. And 1 person is unemployed. Assume that the workers outside food preparation produce the same actual and measured output in both economies. In the first economy, eat-in, the 25 food preparation workers cook for their families and do not work outside the home. So we have first economy, eat-in. What info we know? These 25 people from each household, those who prepare food, they stays at home and produce this food only for their family. So how to write down this? Prepare 25 people prepare food for family at home. All meals are prepared and eaten at home, and the 25 food preparation workers in this economy, that matters, do not seek work in the formal labor market. They do not seek for work. And not seek
Does
for work.
this mean that they are employed?
No.
No?
They are not employed. They do not have official contract. And they do not seek for work. So that means that they are not included in unemployment. Yes. So they are not included in employed and unemployed. That means that they will not be included in labor force. So this is about economy eat-in. What about economy eat-out? In economy eat-out, the 25 food preparation workers are employed by restaurants. All meals are purchased in restaurants. Food prep, employed by restaurants. It's 25. 20. For each economy, we need to calculate number of employed people, number of unemployed people, labor force, then unemployment rate and participation rate, and then to compare in which economy the GDP is higher. So let us start with economy eat-in. In economy eat-in, number of employed people, please. Елизавета.
It's 50.
50 people are employed. Yes, because employed only those who work in non-food sector. Yes. So 2 people in each household multiplied by 25 households, it's 50. Good. Then what about unemployed? How many unemployed? Elizabeth?
25.
Yes, and that matters because you see, you know the definition of unemployed people. That's people who do not have job now, but they are actively seeking for it. Yes, and these people who prepare food at home, they do not seek for work. Yes, so they are not included by definition into unemployed. So this will be only in each family 1 unemployed person. We have 25 families, that means 25. Then Elizaveta, continue, labor force.
It's 75.
Employed plus unemployed, 75. Unemployment rate then?
So we should divide, I don't remember, labor force by unemployment or vice versa.
Vice versa.
Yeah. Then it's 1/3.
5, it is 1/3 or 0.33, 33%. Yes, exactly. We divide number of unemployed people by labor force because unemployed people are included in labor force. Yes, and we should have the percent between 0 and 100. And participation rate.
I don't remember what is participation rate.
I can try to see. So we should divide labor force by by people. No, by people. Yes, we have like the number. And 75 divided by 100, it's 0.75.
So 75% of people in the economy are included into labor force. That means participation rate. Good, thank you. Now, please, economy it out. Maybe somebody new once instead of Anastasia and Elizaveta. Maxim Nikitin once. Yes? No?
I may try, maybe.
Diane, please.
So could you repeat it once again?
How many employed people are in eat out economy? Let's count. Let's count. In each household, 2 work in non-food sector, and you see those who prepare food, they are employed by restaurants. So count how many people are employed in total.
So 2 people work in food restaurants.
2 people work in non-food
In non-food.
And 1 out of and 1 from each household employed by restaurants. So how many people work in the economy?
Simple, but I'm not getting it for some reason.
So, okay, let's ask Yelisey, please.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. Is it like, okay, 75 or not?
Yes.
It should be 75 in employment rate.
2 people work in non-food.
2 people work in non-food. One employed by restaurant. And yes, multiply by 25, we got 75 the result. So we got our employment rates. So now we should take a look for our unemployment rates. Okay, I think
how many?
25 or not? Yeah, 25.
And labor force?
Okay, our labor force is 100.
100. All people are included. in
Are,
this
yes, are counted in labor force. And the next thing, let me, okay, it's one divided by 4. It's, yes, 1.
25%, yes. And participation rate.
Okay, our participation rate 100, or am I wrong? No,
Mm,
no, it's yes, no, it's one.
it's one.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. I meant that. I'm sorry.
Okay. let's see like this. So all people are included in the labor force. So 100%. Now, Maxim, please answer. In which economy we have higher GDP? In economy it in or it out?
So as we can judge, in it's out, because we have more involved people in the production of goods, and in the second economy we have, despite the fact that there is one unemployed, 25% unemployed, they can be employed, so the potential is higher.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So we can explain by two. We can have two explanations. First explanation is that in economy it out, more people are employed. That's why they produce more goods and services. Yes, as employed people for out higher. Or we can explain this by comparing level of unemployment rates. Yes, unemployment rate in economy it out is lower. Yes, that's why GDP is higher. More people are involved. Good, thank you. So as unemployment rate for out is lower. Please, Maxim, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So it's like straightforward in a fashion that like the size of economy we measure only by the number of people employed.
I think it's like logical that if more people employed, they produce more goods, and these employed people, they have official contracts and they are included in statistics. Yes.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
We can say that GDP counted in statistics, yes, in economy out is higher, more official deals. Agree? Yes. So, okay, A, B, B. In point B, let's see. Suppose now that it in economy changes. A few restaurants open and the food preparation workers in 10 households take jobs at restaurants. In it in 10 workers now have work in restaurants. 10 people work in restaurants. And we need to answer what will happen with all these statistics. Okay, Nesta, please.
Okay, so event like it is logical that employment rate will increase.
The number of employed people. Please, one more time. Employment rate is when we divide number of employed people over labor force. It will be rate. But if we say about people in number of people, it is employed people.
Yeah,
employed, without rate. Okay?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Then, if I'm not mistaken, unemployment will remain stable.
Yes,
Like
because
constant or stable. I don't know how to write it.
number of unemployed people is constant, because these 15 people that are that work at home, they do not seek for work. Yes, so they are not included in unemployment. Then
labor force will increase because of the increase in employment.
Yes.
Okay, and if we increase the labor force, the unemployment rate should decrease, because the in ratio, like labor force is in our denominator. Yes.
Yes.
And what is left? Oh, yeah, participation rate should increase because labor force is increased.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So more people now are participated in work. Yes, not in work, but in economic activity. Yes, they are seeking for job or work. So participation rate is higher. Good. Okay, thank you. Any questions about this? Okay. Now maybe C. In point C, let's read. Suppose that you want to include work at home in GDP and the employment statistics. Now we want to include work at home in statistics. And we need to rephrase the definitions. Let us do it. If we want to include work at home in GDP and employment statistics, how will it's C and okay, this here, I will need all this. Include work at home in statistics. What will happen? How the definition for employment will change? Yes.
So we will have people who have contracts plus people who work at home.
Yes, that's all. That's the change in definition. So people who work with who have contracts plus work at home. Now these people who prepare food at home, they will be included into statistics. Yes. Then how unemployment will change?
It should be like people who seek for job, like
it will stay the same, exactly. Yes, people who are seeking for job. Yes, who are seeking for job. And now let us define out of labor force. Out of labor force. How we will define now those people who are not included into labor force?
well, probably like who do not work or who do not seek for job and who do not work at home.
Yes, yes, that's true. So those who do not seek for job, plus not work at home. Maybe okay, yes, and not work at home. Good. So now what will how we can recount the statistics for our it in and it out? What will change for it in economy if we will change these definitions? what you can tell me about employment now in it?
Employment should increase and it will be 75.
Yes, it will be 75 because now in employment we will include work at home. Yes, and those people, they work at home, so good. Now they are 75.
And
Or
that
not.
will, yes, why not?
But they do not seek for job. Plus not work at home. Okay, good. So here 75. Unemployment.
Stays the same.
Yes, stays the same, also 25. Labor force will increase, yes.
Will increase 100. And that will decrease, and it is going to be, oh my god, 0.25. Yes. And is going to be 1.
Yes. And if we will compare it in and it out, when we rephrase our definitions, we see that now they have the same statistics. Yes, same numbers. And that means that in new statistics, with new definitions, GDP will be the same. Yes, because we will count people. We will count these meals that are produced at home. We will count them in money terms and include in GDP. Agree? So now it is equal. Let's say, let's write down in point D, it in and it out, same statistics. And if food produced has the same value and it is written in the task, GDP is the same. Okay, let's write down this. If food produced into economies has the same value, that means that GDP will be the same into economies. Good. Questions? I hope that not only Anastasia understands what we're talking about. That's super strange. We like have like the tutor class. I don't know.
I'm quiet, but I'm just trying to remember as much as I can.
Okay.
I'm more like concentrated.
2 people. So number 3, very fast. We have 3 minutes and this task is for 30 seconds. Number 3. Write down, and you will tell me the answer immediately. Suppose that the size of the labor force is stable. Labor force is stable, the same amount of people each period. So the only flows are from employment to unemployment and back. So people move from unemployed to employed and back. If the fraction of employed workers who lose their jobs each month is 0.01 level or rate of job separation, so employed lose jobs. 1% of employed people lose jobs every month, 0.01. This is rate of job separation. And rate of unemployed that find jobs each month is 0.09. 9% of unemployed each month find jobs. Okay, let's say 1%, here 9%, for better to understand. And we should find, after all these movements, we need to find stable rate of unemployment. What will be unemployment rate in the equilibrium? Stable rate of unemployment. Please answer. Maxim?
Maybe as we take a permanent number, it's 0.9 people. Yeah, percent of people on us.
So 1% of employed people lose jobs. Yes, and at the same time, 9% people find jobs. What will happen, not in the long run, but in the stable situation?
99%.
How many people will be unemployed in the end? Yelisei, maybe?
Yes, I also was thinking about 99, but I don't know.
91.
Or
No.
Okay.
Okay. So in equilibrium, how the each month, what will be the change in unemployment rate? How we will count it? The change in unemployment rate. So employed people lose jobs. So unemployment rate will increase by 0.01. Agree? Unemployment rate will increase by 0.01. But at the same time, 9% find jobs. So unemployment rate will decrease by 0.09. And this is minus 0.08. So each month, unemployment rate decreases by 8%. What will happen in the end? Unemployment rate in equilibrium will be, it decreases.
0.
0, yes. So even if we have 100% people unemployed each month, 8% will become employed. So it continues until unemployment rate will be 0. All people will be employed. Agree? So
Yes.
it's the task, 30 seconds if you will understand it. Yes. So in equilibrium. So this is for each month. So number of employed people will increase, unemployed people will decrease, such that unemployment rate in the end will be equal to 0 after after a couple of months. We don't know from which unemployment rate we start. Yes, but we can tell that in the end there will be no unemployed people. Good, thank you. And if we will have vice versa, we will have unemployment rate equals to 1. Yes, if vice versa, this person. Yes. Okay, so thank you, guys. Let me write down for answer today. And Anastasia. Diane.